Girl, I wish I heard this conversation like 5 years ago when I was struggling with postpartum depression after having my kid. Like, join me and Shayla Varnado today. Like, she is the bestie we all need. Grab a cuppa and join us. Hi, and welcome to the Scenic Route podcast, where we believe in embracing life's journey with purpose, curiosity, and a bit of potty humor. I'm Jen, a sociologist, someone's uncool mom, and I'm always looking out for that perfect slice of gluten-free rhubarb pie. Every week, I get the joy of sitting down with dreamers and doers who dare to take the road less traveled in pursuit of their own magic. Together, we dive into the inspiring stories of soulful entrepreneurs and visionary leaders who boldly share their beliefs, lessons, and fuck-ups. Excited? So am I. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And now, let's take this conversation off the beaten track. Shayla, welcome to the Scenic Route podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited because when I got to know you and read about you, I'm like, okay, this lady's life, bio, whatever, like biopic, it could be called a scenic route. There's almost nothing that I have done yet, and there's still so much left to do.
Yeah.
So, Shayla, what does scenic route mean for you? What was the pivotal moments looking back so far?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like the scenic route to me at this point in life reminds me of there's a scripture in the Bible, is verses around like talents and gifts and utilizing all of your talents and gifts. It's a parable in the book of Matthew, right? And the scenic
I read a note, to be honest, but if you tell me so, I believe it.
Yeah, so it is. And so what the scenic route means to me is like, it really has been a journey of me exploring all of my talents and gifts and putting them all to use and using everything inside of me. I feel like my brief time in corporate, I was like, oh my God, I'm miserable. And I also realized that like, I am so much more than this. Like, yes, I can answer a phone and yes, I can handle some claims and I can do some inspections, but none of that is really using any of the gifts and talents that I have. I'm such a creative. I love the camera, which I discovered as an adult building brands. I love being on camera and I love putting on a face. I love helping people with their marketing. I love drinking wine and helping people grow their palate, right? And so my journey has kind of it's been the ebbs and flows of like using my gifts to serve other people.
Oh, I love this approach of really leading with your gifts and talents first, and then kind of like beef that into the scenic route and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
What you said, like you see yourself as a very creative person. Was there another? What was another like maybe surprising gift or talent you discovered along the way? And what was something you were absolutely shit at doing that did not work out at all?
Oh, that's a really good question. So surprisingly, when I was first started building Black Girls Wine, I decided about a year into it to start going live. And I went live every week on Wednesdays at 8:30 for 4 years. And so a lot of people discovered me that way. And I was nervous as crap. When I first started, I did not, it was my mom and my husband and my dad and my sister on my very first live. And so now when I meet people or I see people in the street or I'm like talking to somebody in the wine industry and they're like, oh my God, I loved your show. And I was like, wow, you watched it? I didn't think I was going to be great at. I didn't know what to expect. I hated public speaking in college when I took it.
Mm-hmm.
I was so uninterested in it. And so it has actually made me a much better speaker. I have a lot more confidence, even if I don't necessarily know where a topic or conversation, or like if it's a panel interview, like even though you never know how those things turn out, I feel more confident because of my 4 years in front of the camera of me just kind of trying it out. Something that I was really shitty at was running a product-based business and subscription box.
Oh,
Not product.
okay. Yeah.
I have dreams of running a product-based business, but the subscription box, I hate going to the post office. Trying to wrangle all of this stuff in a box. And the crazy thing is, like, the box did well. It was growing, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, so I shut it down. I was not.
But I mean, like, kudos to you for shutting something down because it didn't feel aligned anymore.
It was hard. Like, I found myself every single month at the last second, like at the post office, packing boxes and tissues everywhere and trying to tape them and then carry all of these boxes. And I'm like, I know there's an easier way to do it, but I don't even have capacity to figure it out. Like, I just don't care. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Once you kind of like realize, okay, this shit ain't for me. It doesn't even matter. Like, you probably could have hired 3 people to help you easily, but then I don't know what. Then suddenly you have 3 employees of a business you don't like, and you're responsible for them too. And it's just like more honest this way if you feel like, nah, I gotta pull the plug.
Yeah, I had to. And I think it was really good practice because eventually I ended up having to pull the plug on Black Girls Wine Society. And that business, was that membership. It was wildly successful, but motherhood called and I couldn't anymore. And it made me sad to shut it down. That I did grieve having to sunset that business, but it was nothing that I could do. I was 9 months into postpartum and it was rough. So I think it was the preparation I needed to be able to make that decision really confidently. I feel like I still don't know what the ultimate destination looks like, or even if there is an ultimate destination, maybe it will always be life is about enjoying the route because it is scenic.
Yeah.
And that wherever destiny takes you is where it takes you, but you got to enjoy the ride.
Yes. If you've been here for a couple of episodes, you heard me preaching this over and over again. So I'm really happy Shayla is telling you this too. Listen, if you're hating on the journey, whatever destination you'll reach most likely will suck balls too. Like it's just not. Life is so short, and if we're having if we have to push ourselves and having a really hard time just to get one step after the other, like, why bother?
It's hard, and I know like some seasons are just hard. I will say that I do understand. I do understand if somebody is like, oh my God.
100%.
It took me a while post baby wrestling with the fact that I was a mom and not knowing what would become of, I don't want to say me, but just like what that looked like what is juggling business.
What does Shayla as a with the baby looks like?
Yeah.
Mom Shayla.
How does Mom Shayla do everything that non-Mom Shayla was doing, but only more? Like, how does that happen? And I struggled after I had my son trying to like find my way. I was falling in love with this little human, but hating the fact that I was no longer me. And
I can so relate. Yes. You're speaking out of my heart, for sure.
It was hard.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean,
anybody who's listening, I get it.
I mean, my kid is 5 now. I don't know how old is your son, or 2?
He is 2. Oh. He's amazing. And he's he's growing so fast. And
yes,
I don't know. It took me probably almost a year to get to the point that I was like, okay, I have to just like accept that this is my life now. And I have to figure out like how this works. And then I just have to change the way that I work, and I have to change the way that I show up. But this amazing little human is here, and I gotta appreciate it. But it was hard at first. And I'm so glad to hear you say like you get it, because a lot of moms have a hard time saying that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We often hear touch on subjects that, I don't know, the conventional way would be to look the other way. But I don't know. I feel there's so much shame involved in how we how we see ourselves to be mothers, how our partners, how our family, how society sees us as mothers, kettle, whatever. And the more we don't talk about it, the more it stays in the shadows. The easier is for shame to fester and grow, and we can't do with shame. We just gotta be done with this. It's not helping us.
Yeah. That's one thing that after years of therapy, that's something that I'm like, I'm not feeling ashamed for anything that I feel. I'm a human being and I'm entitled to feel what I feel. So I had to find my tribe after having a baby, because I was like, I need people who will keep it real with me. This is not always easy, and I'm not. Very brief backstory. My husband and I have been together for over a decade. We never planned to have children. My son was a surprise. He was a surprise miracle. They told me it wouldn't happen. And so when we got pregnant, it was like, what? What's happening?
What is this thing telling me?
This can't be right. And sure enough, my doctor was like, oh no, girl, all the sister gone. It's nothing but a baby in there. And I was like,
excuse me, can you run the test again, please?
You lying, girl. This is never real. And so one thing that's really important to me, in telling my story, is being really honest about it, because I want any mother to know, it's okay. I didn't get into this necessarily wanting it, and now I absolutely love it. And it's a lot of fun. But at first I was like, shit, I did not. This is what I signed up for.
Oh my God. I'm like, are we living parallel lives? I don't know. It is very spooky. Same. We have been me and my partner, we've been together for years. And I mean, I had my son at 35. And until the age of 34, I was like, I'm never gonna have kids. This is not I don't know. And then suddenly the conversations were we will have a great life whether we have kids or not. It will just be different too. And then maybe we just see what happens if we try, because you don't know how long trying is gonna last you anyway. Right? And then I don't know, it was the second cycle, and I'm like, if I do my math correct, I think I'm late. So I'm like, okay, sure. Okay. So it seems like we're going to do this thing. And I was kind of the last one in my circle to have a baby. The others were already on baby 2 or stopped with baby 1. So I got some of the horror stories. No, there are horror stories. There's blood and gore, and there's no other way to tell it. It's a horror story. And I'm thankful for that, because it kind of, in my mind, I was kind of preparing myself for battle. In a way, I knew this time will be challenging, but boy, I did not know shit.
Listen, having kids is a whirlwind. And one of the things that was hard for me to get used to was the fact that everything is unpredictable. I've accepted it now. It's a part of my life and I'm okay with it.
Yes. But we need other structures if our life is unpredictable.
When I say, because it could be, oh, you're sick because you went to daycare, and now the 4 calls I have scheduled for today have to be moved because life is very unpredictable.
Yes.
And so that was scary to me. I will say some of the horror stories I heard, I didn't end up having horror stories of my own, and I'm very grateful for that. Because I have friends who have some horror stories, and I was already the video they show you in the classes when you're pregnant, refuse to watch the video. I refuse. I'm not taking that in. I don't want it. I refuse.
Yeah.
She was like, getting to the birthing part. No, thank you.
Yeah. Don't
So-
Google placenta or like diameters or like.
I refuse. She started showing the video and I was like, okay, I'm going to go and fix myself some food now. I'm done.
Fair enough. Yes, fair enough. I mean, denial is a wonderful thing.
Listen, and I'm so glad because I had a great experience. My son was born to Beyonce playing in the war room. So,
Oh, okay. That is nice.
yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah. Well, we kind of like had to kind of like go from let's see what's gonna happen to you're probably in a preeclampsia state, so we probably should get this baby out. Oh, okay. It was all the fun. But I'm curious how it was for you or how it is for you. We already said it's a whirlwind. It might be a horror story. It's a lot of fun. It's challenging.
Yeah.
It's all the things and more. And that's, I don't know, part of why I love it, because some of the unpredictability is like, yes, I'm living off this. But I don't know. I wasn't prepared how much of my own shit would come up, especially in relations to with my parents, or how I've been raised, and like how I am now in a position where I almost have to reparent myself too while I parent a little kid, and it's wild. What was the major like things that were stirred for you with the birth of your kid?
Like, so everything that you explained, I experienced as well. I knew that I wanted to parent my son differently.
You're one of the circle breakers.
Yes.
Yes, we're the circle breakers. Yes, go Shayla.
It was really important to me to raise a son who is not just emotionally aware, but emotionally intelligent, who knows how to articulate himself and what he's feeling. He understands that he has options. Anger is one emotion. It does not cover frustration, disappointment,
resentment,
or resentment. Like, there's so many other words. And if you learn how to communicate effectively, people can understand that and understand where you are, and you can move forward. It's really important to me that my son is emotionally regulated, that he isn't a man who overreacts or goes to anger because he is experiencing something else and doesn't know how to express it.
Yes.
And I wanted to be a safe space for him, that whatever he was feeling, he could come to me, and I'm not going to shut him down. I'm not going to discount his experience because it's not like mine. I read something that said, like, it is prideful as a parent if you compare how you were raised in your journey to your child, because you have no way of knowing what they're experiencing because things are constantly changing. And that resonated really deeply with me. And
this is also what I'm accusing my mom of doing.
The exact same. And it has been interesting because the generation that raised us didn't have as much access to, I guess, what the internet has made available, all of the information and the lessons and the quick things that you can learn and intake and shift so fast. And so, since my husband and I both we never talked about kids or perspectives because we weren't going to have any. That was something that we talked about a lot when I was pregnant, and we have talked about a lot post-pregnancy. Reparenting ourselves, and it made our marriage much better. In reparenting ourselves, we have gotten much better about, hey, this is kind of what I'm feeling. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Yeah, I am frustrated. And so if you see me upset, don't think that it's about you. This is what's actually happening. Or, hey, I see that you seem frustrated, or you seem like really down, what's up, right? And
Yeah.
being able to articulate that a lot better with each other, um, it's been a game changer. But for me, building up my son's emotional intelligence so that he does not fall into the stupidity of the patriarchy is very important to me. So,
Oh God, yes. Yeah. All of this, including the relationship part. It's, I mean, having a kid, I mean, it's no, I mean, it's probably hard on any relationship, I think, because you have more needs to take care of. And it's
been
son of a
challenging.
gun you got there at the beginning with this constant crying and milk and nappies and whatnot. So,
That
I
baby
mean,
phase was not fun. I know some people think it's cute, but that was my least favorite part. I am really enjoying 2, and I know I'm going to enjoy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because it is no longer that baby phase.
yeah, I mean, I feel that the baby phase was very interesting because it was physically so draining,
It was.
but I was so bored at the same time. Like, I was like, I need mental stimuli. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm not do like, I don't know, a crossword or something. I'm like, please tell me what's going on in the world. Like,
Yes.
I felt like all my brain was kind of like rotting away. And now it's like, now you started kindergarten last year, and I feel like I have some of the capacity back because like, oh, okay, we're getting into like rhythm as much as that's possible anyway. But now, and this is a cool phase, but it's also challenging in other ways. We're in the getting up, but like, I don't know, having the mom, when will I die questions at 6 o'clock in the morning. And you're like,
I'm not ready.
I'm like, okay, let's like rewind. And like all these like deep shit questions at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yes. Let's talk about death and dying. Sure. Like here for it. Or yeah, I just suddenly started about, like how if the kids lose their toys when there's a war, and you're like, all these things. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, honey, well, most likely, yeah, they do, but it's like, I mean, I would try to like give him age appropriate, like not telling him something like, oh, there is no war or there is no patriot, like, but kind of like make it age appropriate. But then again, oh man, how I do like explain age appropriately the war in Ukraine or like the genocide in Palestine, and I'm like,
you gotta send some notes over because I have no idea how you explain that.
Oh God, I'm swimming in the deep here. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. But yeah, it's really interesting, and what a major one also for me was how relationship change and like the relationship with myself.
Yes.
And all the others too. Like there were people who I thought they're in my life forever. And they're poof.
Yeah.
And there are people who were like, oh, they're nice. Like whenever we see each other, we have a good time. And they really stepped up their game. And I didn't expect it. What was your experience with relationships?
Very similar to yours. Some of my friends that I feel like I have a quite a even balanced circle at times, but as I've gotten older, I'm friends with a lot of single moms, and some of my friends I really expected to be there for me completely disappeared, and they weren't. And then some of my friends really, like you said, stepped it up. I will say at one point I did feel abandoned by some of my close friends because I feel like when they had children, I was there. Or, I made sure to come and see them. I made sure to make sure I could come and help. And, whatever it was. And some of my close friends, I think, just didn't know how to be there because some of them didn't have any kids. And so it's been interesting navigating friendships post motherhood because it really is like, this is a major life change and people either have to get with it or I'll see you in 20 years, I guess, like when he goes to college and he's, out on his own, then maybe we'll be friends again. I don't know. But it's like in this season, it's about him and it's about my husband. And when I have the time, I am more than ready to hold space and capacity for my friends and to be there for them. And that's something that I really enjoy. I do deeply value friendship because I recognize that, our parents won't always be here. They are family. And so I try my hardest to be there. But some people just fell by the wayside. And I also have found, and I don't know if you've had this too, but I also have found that like post motherhood, my give a F meter is also very, very low. Like if you can't rally and understand that I have to bring my kid to dinner or we just got to go another time, then baby, we can just call this another time. And if another time is 20 years from now, then so be it. Because I'm not going to dance with you. I have my kid every evening and every weekend. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes. I feel like that has played out the most ruthlessly, that's the proper English, in my business. Like and it has paid off because so far I've never had any difficult clients who couldn't understand why I had to push a call, whether that had been for health reasons or because kid related something. Yeah, if you don't, I only had that once. I was invited to come on a podcast, and interestingly enough, this person who invited me was a dude. Or not. We're not. We're not going there for now. Anyway, so we had, because of the time difference, US and Europe, it was already kind of tricky to find a meeting. And then we found a spot, and I told him, yeah, that's okay. I can do Sunday evening. It's not usually a time I do any kind of work related things, but sure. Okay. If that's the only thing that we can swing, sure. And then the day my kid got a fever spike, and I was like, okay, like I can't do it. He's like, mommy. And I'm like, okay, no, priorities. And I wrote him like, I think 2 hours before, like, look, this is either super last minute or like, maybe he'll be fine in 2 hours but I just want to like be respectful of your time as I possibly can. Like we have to reschedule. And he's like, I understand. This is your decision. I wish you the best in life. Then he blocked me. And I'm like, well, I mean, fair play to your boundaries. Sir, love it. But I'm like, okay, sure. That's one way of
I feel like these things don't happen to me because God and the universe know. I will snap. Sir. Because, and he can't possibly have children. Because I feel like it's impossible to have kids.
Like someone who is just really like mothering his kids and him.
And he's not involved. It's got to be that. Because there's no way that you can have children and not develop a level of grace for people. Because you cannot control infants and babies and toddlers.
Nothing is like generally.
You can't control, right. Really nothing.
Who are you?
Kids are just the wow factor that come along with it. Like, you cannot control, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff that happens. So yeah, he must not have had any kids.
I know. But it was, like, back to my business, it was really nice to be very strict with my boundaries. And in turn, having the clients who are like, yeah, sure, I get it. Let's reschedule for, like, whatever.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's so important because otherwise, I don't know, I would have loaded in my little tiny suitcase even more. Ooh, that brings me to a good topic. Oh, mom guilt.
I feel like
How you dealing with mom guilt, Shayla?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I don't. So my mom guilt is around feeling bad when I need a break and I'm over it. That's when I have mom guilt because then I feel bad that I
Or your own needs.
Yeah. And that's when I'm like, oh, and my husband is very good about, no, go downstairs, do your nails, go downstairs, or, you know, go somewhere on Saturday, go to brunch, take us up to brunch. Like, he's really good about encouraging me to take breaks and take stuff away. And I feel bad for wanting them. But between him and my best friend, who's a single mom, my best friend is like, if you don't get out of there, your husband told you get out, you need to get out and go. And she'll be like, and stay away all day. Like,
change your cell phone number.
Listen, she is like so serious about it.
Oh, I love her. Why do you think that is, though? That you feel bad for your own needs?
It's probably a little residual from my own mom. Probably. Feeling like I have to be there and that I have to be the one that's present and does all the things when in all actuality I don't have to.
An maternal image of what has been modeled to you.
And I think that's probably a big part of it. It's something that I'm working through.
Well, I mean, we're always working through some shit. I mean,
we are.
Shall we do like a couple of Motherhood Unplugged ones?
Oh, yeah.
I have. Do you want to start off easier or do you want to go right in the deep end?
Go right in.
Okay. Oh, yes. What do you feel are some like topics related to motherhood you feel are still like taboo or not really discussed as openly as they should?
I feel like it's not talked about enough actually how hard the first year is. I feel like there's a lot of and I can't think of the psychological, like the term they use in psychology, but it's like a lot of like over like making it sound like it's, oh, you'll be okay. Oh, everyone goes through it. No.
Gaslighting.
Hard.
Gaslighting.
Yeah. There's a lot of gaslighting around the first year. And maybe it's not everybody's experience. I don't know. But mine was trash. Okay. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. It was not fun. It was really hard. And it really has nothing to do with it. For me, it didn't have anything to do with my son himself. It was me navigating this new person, this new life. Like so much is different. Like we're not even talking about the physical part of it. Like just life in general and adjusting and adapting. And I've been an entrepreneur for years now. So it's like figuring out the direction business is going to go and everything. Like it was a lot all at once and it was trash. And I feel like not enough people talk about that. And especially I can only imagine how challenging it has to be for people who go back to work, working for somebody else. That's got to be hard.
Yeah.
And I feel like there needs to be more space held for women. Like I know in other countries, they get a year off. You need a year off.
Oh God, yes. I mean, we get 3 months off, which is better than nothing. But I mean, 3 months is just you recovering to a level where you like barely functional again. Like, I mean, not that it's recovering.
I was still like, more time is needed. I feel like that's one of those things that needs to be talked about. And I think it is absolutely not. I feel like I don't hear anybody talking about it or offering any advice for the couples. like your relationship post baby, it is so different. My husband and I were that couple that went on dates every other weekend, every single month.
Yeah.
I could probably count on one hand how many dates we've had the last 2 years because it's just different. Like,
Yeah.
where are we going to put him? We're going to watch him, you know?
So boys and girls, take it from your wise friends here. A baby will not fix your relationship.
At all. At all. If anything, it makes it way more challenging. And if you don't go into parenthood, like consciously, like, okay, I'm going to probably have to repair myself in some areas.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck shit up. Like, we're going to hate each other's guts at least a couple of times a day, but we'll make up at the end.
Yep, exactly. And it definitely, and the sex part, I feel like it's not talked about enough.
Ooh,
the sex is very different for the woman post baby. Like, even sometimes the mental load of running a family can impact your sex life, and that's not talked about enough either. It's not enough conversation about, like, okay, now I feel weird because I breastfed for 18 months. You kind of can't touch me.
24.
Mm-hmm. Like, so it was a little...
Did you know, my midwife told me this, and I was like, that, like, they say you're fully recovered from putting a child into this world, like, fully recovered in the sense of your hormones are back to the way they were before. Roughly 12 to 18 months after you stopped breastfeeding. I mean...
And there's a guy, I don't know his name. He's not American, but he has a huge following. I found him when I was pregnant. And he said that a woman's body takes like years to recover after baby. Like, and for everything to regulate and get back to a new normal, it takes years.
If ever.
But I've heard that.
I mean, my feet are a size bigger now. I don't think they'll shrink again.
Right? Like, so much stuff changes. And I had heard that it takes a while, and it is after you start breastfeeding. So, like, it hasn't even been a year for me. Now that we talk about it, it hasn't even been a year. Like, stuff is still regulating, and it's a new normal that your body has to figure out. Yeah.
I feel another taboo topic is, I mean, we're slowly talking about things like mental load, at least over here. Very slowly. But just the whole, like, somatic experience of it. I don't know. Like how traumatic it is for the body. And like how giving birth is probably one of the most like intense experiences or like dangerous experiences you can have. And like just all the, I don't know, the blood and the guts and everything. Like, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should have watched that video and...
Look, I couldn't watch it. I feel like...
I'm like, yeah, it's not a sanitary thing, but... And I mean, you know what I would have wished? That someone would have told me.
What?
Should we go there? Yes, we should.
Go.
Dad, well, I mean, I had a C-section, so that might be different. But anyway, if you have a C-section...
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a C-section, make sure that before they reel you in, you get one good last dump. Because the first time you have to take a number 2 after is shit. It's bad. It's really bad.
I don't even remember.
Oh, no, I remember because I lost a little blood. Because some things didn't rip as they were supposed to, whatever. And so I had to take iron. And I'm like, listen, people, I know how this iron thing works. If I have to do tablets, then I'll be constipated until the end of time. Oh, but your levels are not like low enough for an IV. I'm like, don't
I have no capacity to argue now. Okay, sure. I was so constipated that birthdom was harder than actual fucking childbirth. Like, I kid you not. I wish someone would have told me
I'm
that.
trying to remember.
It was so bad. And then I talked to
I don't remember.
they all had like similar experiences. So I felt like this should be on a manual somewhere for C-section. So
I feel like, so I remember during pregnancy. So when I was pregnant, a good friend of mine was pregnant, and my husband's sister and first cousin were pregnant. We were all pregnant at the same time. And they all, speaking of horror stories, had their babies literally within a 2-week time span before I had my C-section. And all of them went in for vaginal births and ended up having C-sections. So I was like, excuse me, I'd like to schedule a C-section.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. We're not waiting.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I ended up scheduling it. But what I remember during pregnancy is like, I actually was TMI more regular than I was beforehand. So I don't remember afterwards. Afterwards, I feel like I was too busy, like drowning in breastfeeding and figuring.
Also, a lot of things get blurry.
Yeah, I wish I had written. I have it on my list of things to do now to start a journal for my son. I want to start writing for him. And I wish I had started earlier because there are some things that are just blurry. Like it was hazy. The not sleeping, the not.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just getting into his molars are coming in. So some of the nights, the last couple of weeks have been a little rough.
Oh, I remember those.
For the most part, listen, it's been rough. But for the most part, he's like sleeping through the night now. And so it's been like, it's much better. My sleep is off. And I don't know if it's permanent, but at least he is sleeping through the night.
That's good.
It's been different.
I mean, we have like a family bed co-sleeping kind of situation. And like, I'm wide awake when he just makes as little as I don't know. It's something biological. Like I cannot turn this off. Like I'm awake. Yes. What do you need? Water bottle. Like I got you covered. And partner with his.
I'm the same. I kicked. No, that was one thing I didn't want to do because I was like, I don't want him in bed. So we kicked him out. We co-slept for a long time, and then probably he hit about 9 months, and we're like, all right, you gotta go in your room. So,
so did you manage that? We failed, like, or we do with that. Just we tried.
Girl, I love my man. I needed my man next to me.
This is very true. This is very true.
And what
I need my man everywhere else, but just the bed during night is tricky.
What I told myself was one day, this little boy is going to come up to me and go, Mom, I love her and I want to marry her. And at that point, is my marriage reflective of what he's going to want? Or will I have sacrificed my marriage to have this baby in bed with me?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? No, he got to go. He got to go. So, but I am very quick to be like, he's coughing. He has to sleep in here with us.
Right. It's always these. I like every year. I'm in a co-working network group. We all work remote, but once a year we get together and like hang out, and be social for a couple of days. And so last week, I know it's our non-work work trip. We don't talk shop. So last week we went to Ireland. And it's like, it's bliss. I can eat all of my food in the pace I want. I can go to the bathroom when I want, all by myself.
For me, it's I can take my time and do my makeup without any interruption.
Oh, that's nice too. Yeah. Yeah.
I have my
I can do my nails, or I can do my hair, or whatever it is that makes you happy uninterruptedly.
Uninterrupted. I had my first brand trip since I had a baby this past weekend. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, yes, the sleep was great, but in confession, I still had his little monitor on. You know, I still have the app on my phone, so I still had it on miles away. But I at least was able to like take my time and get ready. I'm the primary parent because of where my husband has to go to work. So literally every morning, I don't look like this. I look insane in the morning because I'm trying to get him ready so I can get him to daycare. I look crazy. And so it was nice to be able to have the weekend to like, oh, I'm going to do my makeup every day. And
Yeah.
my hair and
This is so true. And yet, you already mentioned it. We're living in this weird parallel thing where we're like, oh, freedom, independence. But I miss his teeny tiny warm cuddly feet.
Yes.
Right? Is you really have to break the black and white thing. It's all of this at the same time, and it is so much
every day. It's every day. It is. I feel like every day I take him to school and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad he's in school. And usually by the end of the day, I'm like, I can't wait to see my little bud.
Do you have any like? I'd say they're not weird per se, but no fear is weird. All fears are legit, but I sometimes some weird fears creep up on me, like, oh, I don't know. Like, for example, when he was little, he was like tucked away safely in his stroller. And we were walking over a bridge, and I'm like, what if a gush of wind comes now and blows the stroller over the bridge, Ladder? What am I going to do now? And then I'm like, what? This is like mom brain on steroids. Like, this is not going to happen.
But I definitely had that. There's a, oh my God, there's a term for it. I can't think of what the word is, but I definitely catastrophizing. I definitely catastrophize. And it's even worse because I'm a mom. And I've never thought about my own death so much, which is probably very morbid and weird, but I've thought about it a lot because
it can also help to make you prepared.
It is very,
we're practical here.
Okay, listen, I'm like, I gotta make sure he has everything he needs in case something happens to me. And so, like, yes, you always say thank you when someone gives something to you. And when a woman is walking by, you need to open the door for her. You need to be kind to people. If you offend someone, it's okay to say sorry, even if you don't understand, right? Like, it's all of these, like, important life lessons.
What can I squeeze out of my brain?
That I'm like, you need right now, every day. So I feel like that's probably the weirdest thing that I have thought about it. I try not to think about it much. We recently lost a classmate, and she had a 6-year-old, and it was sudden, and it was really, and so last week I thought about it a lot because I was just like, and it was a car accident. Like, it's something that could happen to anyone. It wasn't anything crazy. It was a car accident. So it's just like, it just makes you think about how much you've done, how much you poured into this little person, but then also I don't want to leave them. It's a big part of it. I don't want to leave them. And never loved a little person so much.
I know, they're so little. And then our love for them is so big.
It really is.
Okay, we're gonna end with one interesting one, because I have some stories and I'm sure you have some too. Have you ever experienced mom shaming? Have you ever been shamed for the way you parent your kid, or apparently parent your kid by some random stranger you've met or something?
I haven't by a stranger, and I would advise no one ever do that.
Very solid advice. Yes.
Look, I don't have the capacity, and I will probably sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
I have my
tolerance for bullshit is very low these days.
very, very low.
Mm.
I feel like I have felt mom shamed by relatives at times because I am choosing to parent differently.
Mm.
And the choices that I make may not necessarily be what was done when I was a child. So I have felt mom shame.
Well, I mean, house prices are not the same. Egg prices are not the same since then. So why should we parent the same? Just saying.
Exactly. And that's literally always my point. Like, everything is literally different. It's 20 times the cost.
I know
of what
so
it
much
was
more
to
about
me.
childhood development and trauma and brain development. And like, why should we keep on doing shit that clearly didn't work because we're all in therapy?
When I say, and me and my friends talk about that all the time, like, clearly it didn't work because all of the millennials are in therapy. So stop judging us for the way we're choosing to parent.
Oh no. Then comes the killer argument. Well, we suffered through, we like lived through this through and it didn't hurt us. We're still here kicking.
And it's like, if that's what you base your parenting off of, then
if that's your baseline,
but
if barely surviving is like your baseline, sure.
Listen, it's been, and so I had to work through my feelings on that a lot. And I'm saying my most recent therapist was amazing, bro. One thing I will do, that one thing I've learned was like learning how to just be okay with my feelings. And if you are bold and bad enough to question something I'm doing with my child or with my husband, then be bold and bad enough to receive my response. Because I'm going to respond. I'm not holding it in. I'm not having, most women, like so many women die of heart attacks. I'm not dying of a heart attack. I'm not holding in stress because I'm upset because you offended me or you hurt my feelings or no. If you're bad enough to comment on what I'm doing, be bad enough to hear back my response. That's really bad.
That reminds me of one of my pregnancy stories.
Oh,
yeah, it was, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before I gave birth. And it was like super hot. It was like end of June. It was super hot and sweaty. It was gross. And I was on the bus. We do buses here in Europe. And I was on a bus. And then there was this elderly lady, I don't know, early 70s or something like that. And she came up to me and was like, I know, you're only like, oh God, girl, don't tell me more. Anyway, she came up to me and she's like, oh, pregnancy is such a miracle. And then while she said that, she put her hands on my belly. And I lost it. I'm like, excuse me, I'm not fucking public property. And I touched her boobs. I was like, is this feeling comfortable? Me touching your boobs? See how this feels? Is it great? Or like, I don't know, is this the kind of PDA you like? I snapped in the entire bus. I went like ballistic.
No, that's so good.
I couldn't. Like, I was just like, it was hot. I wanted to go home. I was thirsty. I was hungry. I was so not regulated. And then the audacity. No.
That would have made my day.
Did not sign up for this.
That would have made my day. I don't understand the world's obsession with commenting on pregnant women's bodies. I really don't understand.
I mean, women's bodies in general.
Women's bodies.
Before, after, during, like.
Because even when people are like, oh my God, you lost so much weight and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I was diabetic. I didn't have a choice. So it's not like I'm just this mom that's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm super, like, I'm trying to not end up on insulin. So this is not normal though. So don't think that it's okay. And I tell people that all the time, like, regardless of what happens after baby, worry about your mental health first. You can get to the physical body, right? Like, it's the constant commenting and comparing women like, oh, she bounced back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's so skinny. Oh, she gained a lot of weight. And I'm just like, why? And the touching, you handled that perfectly because like I don't like to be touched when I'm not pregnant. So I can't imagine what I would have done with somebody that really.
And then somehow you become public property and all the people tell you their pregnancy stories, whether you want to hear them or not. And you're like, And you hear stories of like how they lost their babies, and like, I'm super, super sad this happened to you. But this is, no, I do not want to hear about your miscarriage like a week before I'm scheduled to give birth. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not and I'm wondering, and I don't know why people do that either. I'm very much like, oh, you're pregnant, congratulations. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, if they want to share more, I'm happy to listen.
They want to ask questions? All right.
Yes.
But
No unsolicited advice, no unsolicited stories.
I'm not giving unsolicited advice or unsolicited stories because you may not want to hear it. Your experience might not be mine. Like a lot of people, I never share my birth story because so many people have horror stories and my birth story was great. So like I keep it to myself because it's just like, I didn't like that when I was pregnant, like people imposing their experiences on me. And so I try to be very thoughtful, even with moms. I'm like other moms with their newborns, with their whatever. I'm like, if you have questions, you can come ask me. Otherwise, I'm gonna stay over here because every child is different and what works for one won't work for another. Right. Like, so it's just like, I wish the world would learn to mind their business, but I don't think social media is really helping that. So,
yeah, probably not. And I mean, oh God, yeah. Unsolicited, oh God, the amount of unsolicited advice I got when one time I shared a picture of baby wearing. Sure. Thank you all, random strangers of the internet, for the concern of the posture of my newborn. I guess.
I don't share any pictures of my son.
Yeah,
so now that he's older
or something. No.
Now that he's older, occasionally I'll have like, you'll see the back of his head.
Yeah, exactly. Back of the head or a hand or a feet or a foot or something like that. Or like him, but like his face has like a smiley sticker on it or something like that. But children are not your content.
Yep. When I say
they have their right to their own picture, and if they cannot consent, you too.
Exactly. That's exactly why I didn't. I was like, you know what? He is his own person. He's his own autonomy. And that was something that I learned. I had to learn and reparent myself on because it's up to him if he wants to participate in social media. It is up to him if he wants to. And even my husband laughs and jokes about it, but like I give him choices for a lot of things. Partially because I want him to be very independent, but also because I want him to know that it's okay for him to be who he is. He does not have to be who mommy wants him to be, who daddy wants him to be. You be who you are. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. So that is how I parent. Very, like everybody has their own autonomy. And so,
yes, like 100%. Like we also do that at doctor's visits. Like we explain him, look, like you get the vaccines now. And he was always a good sport. But we always talk to the doctor and just kind of like, well, and we have a very good pediatrician. She always asks like, look, I'm going to do this now. Is this okay? And if not, we would have gone back another time because, like, I mean, he knows that there's certain things where we have to kind of like overrule him, like when it comes to health decisions, because he cannot make them himself. But he chooses what he wears. He chooses the length of his hair. And he knows now that he has blonde, long locks that he gets mistaken for a girl all the time, which is something he has to live with. Yep. Then he's like, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. Fair enough. That reminds me of one of the mom shockers. Or like it probably was a grandma. I don't know. Don't want to judge. And anyway, we were in the playground. He was like maybe 2.5 at the time. Or 2.5. And it is these blonde locks, like angel locks, like super curly, like little pigtails. And then she's like, oh, this lovely young girl. And then with the blonde locks. And another one of my snap moments. I was like, well, his name is Finn and he is a boy until he tells us otherwise. Just like quietly removing herself from the scene. And I'm like, bye-bye. Good riddance. Those are my little pockets of joy where I'm like, yeah.
It can be hard to tell at times, but it's always a good idea to ask.
Just ask if you're not sure. I mean, if you're not sure of someone before you assume somebody's gender or sexuality, religion, just ask. Like, what's the big deal? Ask what are your preferred pronouns? What do you, like? I don't know. But anyway, that's a component nothing for another. Oh, I just thought of one last question. No, actually, second last. Yeah, it was the same. Second last. What's the most useful shit you bought for your baby?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, we're not giving unsolicited advice. You're still here, so this is solicited. What's the dumbest shit you bought? What's useless shit? Most useless. I don't care about useful. I care about the most useless.
Oh, useless.
Yes, useless. Oh, I mean, you can also share me the most useful, but the useless is always because it's always more interesting because you buy some crap that you think you're gonna need because I don't know, you scrolled TikTok at 3:00 in the morning and then you bought something on Amazon and you're like, nah. Not say this happened to me.
Blessed in that we did not have to buy a lot of stuff, but some things that we did not use was probably we ended up with a whole bunch of bath stuff. A lot of like random stuff that I recently packed it all up completely unopened and sent it off to the Goodwill. So we had a lot. We had 2 bathtubs. We had a lot of extra stuff though. The baby washcloths. I hate them. We use them on this face now, but they're like small and they don't sud and they're weird. My mom made a ton of washcloths for him and we love those because they're normal size and they suds really well. So I really like the one she gave us. We did not use, and we had a lot. I probably had at least 50 washcloths, baby washcloths.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Are people actually using these? We didn't use them.
I know. We had them too. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, as a bib over your shoulder if they burn our hand.
Yeah, like we didn't use them like that. Probably the most useful thing, which it grows my family out, but it was very helpful. Was that nose sucker thing.
Oh,
yeah. And so good. I love that thing.
Oh,
I love helping.
It's so weirdly fantastic. It's so gross.
My husband was like, I know, right? And my husband was like, I'm not doing that.
I'm like, wait. No, we were actually kind of fighting about it because we're also both like, oh, there's a pimple. Can we like push it? So we're both like, but it was your turn last time. Yeah, it was.
I was very excited to do it every time. I'm like, oh, I get to clear your nose out. I'm happy to help. And
I mean, how much stuff does fit in those tiny noses? It's amazing.
I'm like, where is this coming from? You're not that big.
No, like, is your whole belly filled with like snot? I have no idea. It's one of the big mysteries of life. Like, I have no idea.
It really is.
Oh my God, I could talk to you about Motherhood Unplugged for a long, long time, Shayla.
I could too.
Before I let you go, let us know where can people find you if people be like, oh, I want to see all the other sides of Shayla, not just the mom side. Where can people find you?
Yes. Well, I am on social media at Shayla Varnado or at Black Girls Wine. If you're a wine lover, come follow my journey.
Perfect. I'm such a wine snob. Like, I just drink I have friends who are very good with wine, so I'm always trusting their opinion. And it's usually, if it's a Portuguese wine, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. And one last question before I let you off the hook. It's a question I always ask. What book are you currently reading, or what audiobook are you currently listening to?
Potty training.
Oh, or what movie episode are you currently on?
Listen, I'm like, I am currently reading Proven 5 Steps, Potty Training in 1 Weekend. That's my audiobook.
I mean, that's very important.
I am trying to master potty training. But other than that, scale or fail.
Oh.
Scale or fail.
Oh, okay. I am
taking the digital marketing agency to the next level, working with new clients, exciting clients, and want to scale the business. So scale or fail.
That sounds good. We're going to list those on the show notes and in a Scenic Route library. So if you're ever short on reading what to read next, or you have to potty train a toddler, you know where you find literature to do it. Shayla, it has been a blast. Thank you so much for joining me on the Scenic Route.
Yes, thank you for having me, Jennifer. This was a lot of fun.
And just like that, we've reached the end of another journey together on the Scenic Route podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. Curious for more stories or in search of the resources mentioned in today's episode? Visit us at scenicroutepodcast.com for everything you need. And if you're ready to embrace your scenic route, I've got something special for you. Step off the beaten path with my Scenic Route affirmation card deck. It's crafted for those moments when you're seeking courage, yearning to trust your inner voice, and eager to carve out a path authentically, unmistakably yours. Pick your Scenic Route affirmation today and let it support you. Excited about where your journey might lead? I certainly am. Remember, the Scenic Route is not just about the destination, but the experiences, learnings, and joy we discover along the way. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the Scenic Route again.